Continuing our story, we have Captain Marvel being laid 6 feet under, or basically the aftermath of the fight, which did not go too well for her, as you guys can see. And this is where Zilla would tell Ghost Rider and Magic to pick up their ally and leave. That he will not be helping them and he'll be handling this crisis on its own. To which Ghost Rider promptly remarks that they'll need him in the long run. And Zilla tells him that they need to handle their world's problems before coming to his world and trying to deal with his. He even warns them that if they come back down here again, that they won't be leaving alive. Turning back into his beast form and leaving the defeated heroes to, well, leave. He then pretty much explores for a little bit until he actually meets Kong. Kong was actually looking for him at this time, and the two communicate to each other that they both really sense the disturbance within the Hollow Earth, and that some of the creatures down there have actually gotten more aggressive. Zilla acknowledges this and says that they both need to go and find Man-Thing. And this is where Kong says that's the thing, or at least communicates to him that's the thing, that Man-Thing actually telepathically, called to him and said that, they need to meet in this location, or at least meet him at this location. Zilla, kind of confused on what telepathy or what Man-Thing could actually do, decides to take Kong up on this offer, and they both embark on this journey together. They actually go through the Hollow Earth pretty easily. Now, we do know in the Monsterverse that the Hollow Earth doesn't have much in terms of environment, so I'll be giving it my own. So we have Kong leading Zilla to this location, and they're a bit skeptical. They're sniffing around, and they both can hear certain things going on within the environment around them. And Kong readies his battle axe while Zilla prepares his atomic fire, and Zilla actually lets out a intimidation. All right, he actually does his intimidation display with shaking the scoots on his back and pretty much like sparking fire, right? But this is where, when he sparks the flame, he sees the skull crawlers. Being seen, they immediately jump out and attack both of them. It's actually, let's say there's several, right? Several meaning, more than one or two at least. And Zilla actually starts doing the most damage. He's able to handle multiple skull crawlers far easier than Kong, actually. Credit to the artist. And this is where this giant alpha male skull crawler comes out and tackles Zilla. But Zilla is easily able to wrestle it and actually slams it to the ground. This is when Zilla pretty much rams it right into a nearby creek. Now again, creeks in the Hollow Earth would probably be 10 times the size. But Zilla starts seeing the skull crawler panic for some reason as it crawls out. Like it knows something's in there and it's desperately trying to. But just as the skull crawler gets out, this is where I would introduce another Titan. Let's say for this one, obviously in front of you, the Toxinodon. Now this artwork right here definitely deserves all the credit and all the love. I mean, look at it. This was made as a Monster Hunter fan art, and this guy is just absolutely amazing with it. But back to the story. So the Toxinodon lunges out with its sharp, or at least its very muscular tongue, and punctures and drags the skullcrawler beneath the creek, leaving Zilla shocked. However, the Toxinodon gets a little greedy and it jumps right back out at Zilla, but gets shot with a kind of a paralysis arrow, which causes it to flee right back into the creek. Kong has dealt with his skull crawlers, but he's actually seen some burnt to a crisp. And Zilla walks back, looking at Kong like, did you do this? Jeez, man, I didn't think you had that kind of dog in you. But their questions are answered by Man-Thing. However, not just him, but the person who shot the arrow was Neytiri. And this has Zilla flabbergasted. His beast form even starts, I guess you could say, twitching a little bit as he turns into his human form and runs at her. The two would embrace each other in a long, reunited, romantic kiss. Remember, Neytiri originally left to be with her people. However, when Zilla asked her why is she back, she thought her and her people left. And Neytiri begins to explain that they didn't stay there too long, or at least the Metakai didn't. She and the Metakai actually left, leaving the Omatakai, or at least her original clan, to stay on Pandora where they felt more at home, where she came back for him. Man-Thing then suggests that they continue their journey, and Zilla and Kong both agree, with Zilla turning back into his beast form and letting Neytiri climb on his back. This is where we see the four of them actually just going through the Hollow Earth together, with Man-Thing being the same size as at least Kong at this point. Now again, traversing the Hollow Earth is not a safe thing. As a matter of fact, we know danger is everywhere. I mean, just look at Skull Island. This is basically a bigger version of it. Now, we do know that the Hollow Earth has an abundance of life, and that abundance of life can be very hostile at times. Some passive, some hostile. But Kong, Zilla, Man-Thing, and Neytiri all go through it like a hot knife through butter, with Kong dealing with his fair share and Zilla also dealing with his fair share of monsters. However, Zilla is able to subjugate most of the monsters, making them submit to him, as again, he is an alpha titan. Kong has not gotten used to having creatures be, well, subjugated by him. And what we actually see here is how Zilla and Kong differ in fights here, with Man-Thing and Neytiri playing support if they need, pretty much as they need to, as these two are kind of the, I guess you could say, the main inhabitants or the main components of the team right now. But as they go through each kaiju, they finally make their way to the Crystal Caverns. Also, let's say this journey takes them about a month or so, because let's be real, the Hollow Earth is pretty big and there's a lot of stuff to pretty transverse, even for a kaiju. So this is where they actually admire the beauty of the Crystal Caverns until Man-Thing begins to kind of just spur. And this is where we would see Crystalak hiding within the, Crystal Caverns, actually using the wall and his camouflage to his advantage. However, Zilla begins to actually pick up on the scent a bit more distinctly. And just as he looks up to the location, Crystalak barrels down, ramming right into Zilla, causing him to catch Neytiri as he hits the ground with a thud. Seeing that some of the crystals were broken by Zilla's fall, Neytiri grabs one and attaches one to her arrow, hitting Crystalak with it, causing a very, very powerful explosion. Kong then uses this time to grab Crystalak by the tail before he can shoot anything and smashes him into the wall. Man-Thing then jumps on him and fear burns him entirely. However, Crystalak is able to use that energy from Man-Thing's fear burn and transfer it into his crystals and producing the Crystal Blast as usual. Zilla then gets up and Crystalak just charges at him. Now, sorry, I also got to mention the Crystal Blast actually knocked back both Man-Thing and Kong. And this is where Crystalak charges at Zilla, and Zilla responds in kind by using a flame wheel. Now, you might say, wouldn't he absorb this energy? Yes, but it would actually be a much more devastating amount of energy as Zilla keeps going and drives him into other crystals, causing a massive explosion. He then comes down on top of Crystalak with a heat crash, using impact to knock out Crystalak. Neytiri notes that this was actually really intelligent of Zilla as she collects crystals, saying that these crystals will actually come in handy in the far future. But as they walk through the hole that Zilla created from his impact, they actually arrive at Destroyah's prison, a makeshift temple, if you will, meant to hold it. And it looks as if it was built in ancient times. Seeing the environment layout, Zilla then decides that it's best if Kong and Man-Thing are able to go through one way and he and Neytiri try another. Neytiri agrees with this, saying that it would be more strategical if they took another route. However, just before they get into it, the temple explodes, causing Zilla to basically cover Neytiri the best he can. She's only burnt in, I guess you could say like a cosmetic wise, like just a little bit of a skin burn. but she's fine. But this is when they see Destroyah rise out of the crater that was created from this explosion. And this is where they hear a voice saying, "Now it's time." They look up to see Sute, and pretty much both Zilla and Neytiri are shocked. Neytiri asks him, "Why are you here? You said you were going to stay with your people. You said you belonged there with them. What what have you done?" Into which Zilla'S chimes in that Sute was always such a noble warrior. Why would he do something this dishonorable? However, within a flash, he has to catch a trident coming at Neytiri's face. And that's where we see Namor, who tells him, "You didn't think that would be the last you saw of me now, did you?" And this is where both Kong and Man-Thing look on in both admiration and in a little bit of horror as Obsidious, one of the guardian kaiju of this temple, arise from, well, the magma itself. And this is where Zilla notes to both Sute and Namor, why would they do this? Especially Sute. Sute says he always wanted a world of his own, a place where he could rule. And Sute pretty much sought out Destroyah to give him that place. Seeing as there's really no reasoning with Sute here, Zilla then goes into his beast form, preparing for a fight. However, we pan back up to the surface world, where Godzilla is swimming through a hollow earth portal. He senses it. Something's wrong. Something is wrong with the balance of power. And as he rises out of the ocean, or at least, sorry, the hollow earth version of the ocean, he gives out a bellow saying that he's arrived to fix the situation. And that's where we're going to leave it off here, you guys. What happened? How did Sute and Namor free Destroyah? Wasn't Namor arrested? Find out more in the next chapter. Please comment down below, like and subscribe and share with your friends. This is Legendary Grimlock, and I'll see you guys for the next chapter. Peace.